A very good morning to all of you. This is Ranjana and I welcome you to this video lecture. But first of all, I wish for you is to stay safe and healthy, particularly in these days of health anxiety. I hope all you are staying safe and healthy and taking all precautions that our government had recommended. So in this video I am going to explain a poem. The name of that poem is An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum is written by Stephen Spender. In this video, first I will begin with the poet, then the themes, then the central idea, and then I will explain the poem stanza by stanza. So first of all, the poet. Sir Stephen Spender or Sir Stephen Harold Spender was an English poet, novelist and essayist who concentrated on the themes of social injustice and the class struggle in his work. He was appointed Poet Laureate Consultant in Poetry to the United States Library of Congress in 1965. So in this poem he writes about the class struggle and the struggles that the slum area children faces. Now the theme of this poem. In this poem, Stephen Spender deals with the theme of social injustice and class inequalities. He presents the theme by talking of two different and incompatible worlds. The world of the rich and the civilized has nothing to do with the world of narrow lanes and cramped holes. The gap between these two worlds highlights social disparities and class inequalities. Now the central idea of this poem. Stephen Spender has presented a true picture of the life of the school children living in the slum of this valley. The children are in a very miserable condition due to their poverty and illiteracy. They are depressed. Their pale faces expresses sadness. They look lean, skinny and bony. They are like rootless weeds which can't resist anything for their existence. They are physically very weak and undernourished. Spender voices his concern for these children who live all their life in slums and have no opportunity to enjoy the real blessings of life. He makes a frantic appeal to the educated and the affluent section of the society to better the lot of the slum children through education. It will remove social injustice and class inequalities. This poem, An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum, is a beautiful poem penned down by Stephen Spender. Here he mainly exposes the glaring gaps and marginalization that occurs so often in our societies. Then I am going to explain the first stanza of this poem. The children staying in slums have a life full of struggles and lack hope and optimism. They are far away from the velvety world outside. They lack those amenities which are available to the privileged ones. They are as unwanted as the rootless weed. They can only wish for the velvety and the comfortable life of the world outside. These children have no hope on their faces. Their faces are dirty. Their hairs are scattered untidily around their pale faces. They lack stability. The tall girl is sitting with her head down because she is depressed and overburdened with poverty. So here the poet is explaining or giving examples of the students studying in that classroom. There is a boy also who is as lean and thin as paper. His miserable underdeveloped body with eyes bulging out like rats reflects the greed he has felt for an eternity. His growth is blocked and the body appears underdeveloped and malnourished. He is an unfortunate heir who has inherited the twisted bones of his father. He is not reciting a lesson from his desk but is enumerating the diseases inherited from his father. At the back of that unlit classroom is a sweet young boy who goes unnoticed. Dreams seem too alive in his eyes. His eyes have that spark of dreams to be part of that world outside the classroom. He dreams of squirrels playing games in the hollow of the tree. His dreams are of the places other than his repulsive classroom. He is lost in his imagination, creating his own fantasy world where he plays like a squirrel in its tree room. He is not interested in the monotonous environment of the classroom. So this was the explanation of the first stanza. Now the second stanza. Here the poet depicts the critical condition of the pale and the dingy yellow walls of the classroom. He compares the color of the walls to the sour cream. The classroom has a picture of Shakespeare which was probably donated. The poet further compares the gifts given as donation and the picture of Shakespeare hung on the unpleasant creamy walls depicting dejection. To them they are of no use, of course. Shakespeare and literature have no place in their lives. There is also a picture of a clear sky hung on the classroom walls which depicts dawn and a beautiful valley which indicates beauty and hope with its bells and colorful flowers representing the world that celebrates civilization, progress and heavenly splendor. There is also a world map hung on the wall which is of no use to them as their world is narrow and stuck in the boundaries of poverty and misery. The future is shaky, dark and foggy. Their world is confined within the narrow streets of the slum, enclosed by the bluish grey sky. They are far away from rivers, seas that resemble adventure, excitement and beauty, as well as from the stars that symbolize wisdom that can brighten their future. So this was the explanation of the second stanza. Now the third stanza starts with, here the poet feels that Shakespeare is wicked and he is misleading those children through his words, portraying the worlds of ships, sun and love, which is not only unreal for them, but it has a negative impact on their minds. He feels that his world instigate them to steal or take unfair means as they desperately make attempts to escape from their cramped holes. Their existence is indeed very sad. These deprived skinny children are so skinny that it appears that they are wearing skins. The spectacles they are wearing have glass which have been broken and mended. Their entire appearance reflects their misery and deprivation. The poet shows his indignation by suggesting that the maps on the classroom walls should show the reality of their lives. It must show the huge slums instead of beautiful scenic graphics. Now the fourth stanza and the last one, it is actually the conclusion of this poem. The poet here tries to appease and appeal to the teachers, governor, inspector and visitor to become aware and sensitive and do something to improve the condition of these deprived children. They must try to align the world and transform their map, unlike the map of children with amenities. The poet hopes that the bureaucrats, the authorities, understand their moral responsibilities and free these deprived ones from the traps of their graves. He wants all the barriers that keep them away from achieving the true education to be broken down. They should be given an opportunity to come out of their narrow and shabby lanes and extend to the blue sky and waves rising above the golden sands. The children must be given the freedom to experience the wholesome bounties of nature's field. These deprived children must be taught to express themselves freely. He wishes that all distinctions that separate them from merging with all the outside world should be removed from their lives, and they too may have hope of a better and more secure future. So in this poem, the poet only requests the authorities to allow these children to go out of these slums so that the maps on the walls of the classroom become a reality for them. They should be taken to the green field rather than the dim slums. The sunny, warm sands of the beaches and the bright blue sky will instill a hunger for knowledge in their minds. Then they will absorb all of it. Then these children will become economically empowered. The poem ends with a powerful line. Those who make history are the ones who shine like a sun. So this was the explanation of the poem. So I hope you all understood the poem. Till then, keep reading, keep listening. Thank you.